It's round one of the Thundersport GB Championships for 2017. The AVON tyres, Golden Era Superbikes, and the Alto Digital GP1 Classics are here, ready to race. Last year's champion, John Dieterman, has moved on to pastures new. So that means move over. There's time for a new champion. Who could it be? Here's Richie Thornton. On his day, we know that he's capable. Ryan Strafford likewise. But as you just heard in the opener there, we have a new addition to this grid for 2017. More on that in a minute. Let's get them away from the line. A few different tyre choices going on there, and maybe a questionable jump start from Richie Thornton on pole position. We'll get confirmation of that in just a moment, because it looked like he might have just moved before the lights went out. It has drizzled here at Brands for the opener here in March. It's a bit nippy as well, so a greasy circuit faces these riders, as it is Thornton that goes into Druid's first place up ahead of Ryan Strafford. Coming out there, you can see a bit further back, number one, that is Mark Biswell, who's out there on a lovely Triumph 955. He always gets his bikes looking so pristine and beautiful. The reason he's got number one, by the way, is because of course he comes into this championship as the Golden Era steel frame champion, and so he's got the number one board on his bike, and well, not everyone fancies taking the number one plate, and because nobody did, he said, well, I'll have it, thanks very much, and it's on his bike, and he's going to try and enjoy himself here. Now at the sharp end already we have a change, and that's number 35, familiar face in this paddock, familiar face on this grid. He spent a couple of years in the GP1 championship on a super stock bike, but of course before that he was a Golden Era Superbike champion. Well, this year, he's out to play on a TWP Racing Yamaha, because he is in the Alto Digital GP1 Classics. Now, more on that in a moment. That's a rider who's gone down with his orange bib on, number 221, Ryan Ledbetter. He's up and he's walking away. There he is, Shane Pearson, then on that Yamaha R1. I have to say, still looks an eyeful even now. I love these bikes. I know you do too, Sid, but just explain the addition here to the Golden Era Superbikes. It's a separate championship, despite the fact that they're racing, and of course in the same field here with the Golden Era Superbikes. But what's it all about?
Well, it's just an attempt to make sure that the grid is full. We always had a huge enthusiasm for Golden Era Superbikes, monumental machinery. But you know, in the late 90s, in 98 particularly, the goalposts moved with the onset of the Yamaha R1 basically, and it changed superbike racing forever. There's a lot of these bikes laying around where no good to people, and they were just sitting in garages, and they need to be used. And already, I mean, it's not brilliant here, the entry, but there is sort of 12 or 13 of them, but I can tell you at Donington it's phenomenal. On board there with Ryan Strafford on his SP1.
Here he is then, just in second place. Now the rumour was at the start of the season, Sid, that because of course the Yamahas have, despite racing with these guys, because they're of course more modern, the power available is a little better. If you get them tuned right, you really have got a weapon under your hands there. But the rumour was that they might have split grids here for the GP1 Classics and the Golden Era Superbikes. But it looks like right now on our screens that we've got a proper battle on here between Shane Pearson on his Yamaha, a former champion, and then look who's just behind him, Ryan Strafford there on his SP1 Honda. Then you've got Richie Thornton on the yellow Kawasaki number 71, and just behind those guys, the ever-improving Andy Chalice on his Suzuki GSXR 750.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, you see. I mean, these are basically, because when the R1 came out, they weren't superbikes as such, whereas, you know, like Ryan's bike can be tuned as a superbike, indeed it is an RC51, I think they call it. You know, not wishing to go too heavily into the ins and outs of it, but as you can see, I mean, this was very much a test bed for us to see how they went. It's too short a circuit to do a split start here, but the way it's looking, the the way it went yesterday what it looks today, we probably won't go for split starts even at a big circuit like Donington.
Well, I have to say that from a neutral perspective, I love that news. That's great. There's number 42, about to be lapped actually. That's Thomas Arkell, one of our Royal Marine novices with his orange bib on, and he's about to be overtaken by this gaggle of riders. Now, Ryan Strafford took the lead. A great overtaking manoeuvre, outbraking Shane Pearson into Paddock Hill Bend. Richie Thornton's now coming through as well, number 71. Now, I mentioned his start earlier, didn't I, from pole position as he goes around the outside into Paddock Hill Bend.
Big
now
and
on
brave.
board with Ryan Strafford on his SP1. Unfortunately for Richie Thornton, he's got it all to do. He has picked up a 10-second jump start penalty, so he has now got to try, disappear, and find some time. We have at the moment, because further back in 5th place is Andy Windsor out on a Yamaha. 5 different manufacturers inside the top 5. On screen, of course, don't forget that the Yamaha of Shane Pearson's is a GP1 Classic, so it's going to get championship points of its own. But it's brilliant to see. We have a Kawasaki now leading from a Honda, then a Yamaha, then a Suzuki. Sorry, I mentioned Yamaha twice because, of course, Andy Windsor's Yamaha's in 5th, but that is a Golden Era Superbike. Either way, you get what I'm saying. It's good to see them all out there. Richie Thornton it is that leads then from Strafford now. Shane Pearson, there he is. Sid, talking about the Yamaha R1, of course, the reason why I suppose I'm getting a bit excited about it is because back when I used to race, and of course when you first started actually getting involved in bike racing at club level, back in the late 90s with Jamie Hitter, that was your weapon of choice. So you know what those bikes are like inside and out, because I remember all the nights you used to spend in the garage tinkering around with them.
Yeah, I know every nut and bolt that is available on one of those bikes I can reveal. And you know what it's like to crash one, because you crashed, not your fault to be fair, but you crashed that very R1 at Clearways when the back wheel broke up. We had Dimags on it.
Yeah, around about there.
Yeah,
is where that happened.
yeah.
So yeah, no, it's they're brilliant bikes. I have to say,
fantastic bike.
they still look
I know.
delightful.
I know, they look marvellous. I mean, I'm still in love with them. I wish I'd never sold R1. I could sell it for a fortune now, couldn't I?
Well, yeah, I suppose you probably could. Well, here we go. We're watching this epic battle here between Shane Pearson, Andy Chalice, and number 57 there, Ryan Strafford. It looks like Andy Windsor is he going to try and catch up to this group, or is he not close enough? Might not be close enough, no, at this moment in time. But Richie Thornton, having picked up a jump start penalty, I don't know if he's been given notification on a pit board somewhere.
Well, he hasn't got a pit board.
Well,
I mean, he seems to have the hammer down, doesn't he?
I have to, yeah, well, he does. I mean, he's absolutely flying. He is lapping at the moment in the 52s. He's a couple of seconds quicker than anyone else. He, of course, needs to win this race by over 10 seconds now to have any chance of actually winning the race on paper. So we'll keep an eye out. Don't forget, Shane Pearson at the moment leads the GP1 Classics. We're just watching there. Ryan Strafford going underneath. Andy Chalice, and Andy Chalice here retaliating immediately. Not happy with that. I have to say, we already know what sort of a rider Ryan Strafford is, and Shane Pearson. They're both former champions with us, Sid. We know that they've got the bit between their teeth. I am so impressed with Andy Chalice at how far he's come, because he's been around for a few years racing here and there, but his form from sort of midway through last season up to the end of last year really has climbed somewhat, and here he is mixing it now with the front enders of the Golden Era Superbikes.
Yeah, Andy got off 5th and a 6th yesterday, and he had the biggest smile in the paddock, so it doesn't surprise me actually that it's given him the confidence to go even faster today. He's really looking good and really happy in this particular championship.
We just saw there Richie Thornton going past the start-finish straight. He hasn't got a pit board, Sid, but he's got somebody holding out a board with a bit of writing on, just giving him the information at how clear he is ahead of the pack. So I wonder if he knows himself, you normally do as a rider, that he's jump-started, and now he's just trying to pull the pin and see whether or not he can manage it. It would be a marvellous achievement if he was to win this race by over 10 and take the spoils, but we will find out. There he is, just getting past another tail ender. As we say, damp patches on circuit, and he's lapping in the 52s and across the line. Now then, he's happy with that. He clenches his fists. Now, does he know that he's got the jump start or not? Well, I can tell you that he will win the Golden Superbike race, but he won't win the race outright because Shane Pearson was 9.5 seconds down the road, and so Shane on that Yamaha wins it. He is the GP1 Classic race winner ahead of Thornton. This is the top three in the Golden Era Superbikes. There you can see Richie Thornton, Ryan Strafford and Andy Chalice. And in the Alto Digital GP1 Classics, we've got Shane Pearson, Ross Dunning and John Wright. Race 2 coming up in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere.
First door on your right.
It's time for race 2, the Avon Tyres Golden Era Superbikes and Alto Digital GP1 Classics. I don't know if you've stopped to watch the advertisement between race 1 and race 2, but Sid, I know that that's got your greasy paws written all over it. My word, please, please tell me it's not true. Here we go then, ready for race 2. Steve Day here, Thundersport Sid with me in the commentary box. Earlier on, we saw Richie Thornton, number 71 there on pole position, get a jump start. Didn't quite manage to win the race outright, but he did get 25 points in Golden Era Superbikes. Shane Pearson won the actual race on circuit. He was first across the line and won the GP1 Classics. How will it fare now in race 2 as we get away from the line? Didn't look like this time. Richie Thornton made a jump start, but whether or not the rest of the field did, we will find out in a lap or two when it gets up on our time screens. Here come the Golden Era Superbikes, then all making their way around Druids Corner. Good start for Richie Thornton. This time it was a clean getaway for him, so that's good news. Unfortunately, there were a couple of jump starts there as they just moved away from the line. Number 40, Michael Gover, or Gover, sorry for the pronouncing there. He got a jump start, and well, I've got really bad news also for Ian Feely, number 52. Both of those guys caught jump starting, so they'll have a 10-second penalty added to their time at the end of this one. Luckily, as we're watching it at the sharp end, the main protagonists are unscathed. Now then, let's see how we get on. John Wright got away well this time on the Controls and Safety Limited Suzuki, number 114. There you can see him. Good start for him, and he's on a GP1 Classic Sid, but as you can probably tell, those of you watching at home, that's not a Yamaha, so this is one of the other GP1 Classics that you can use. This is the Suzuki GSX-R 750. Is that a K1?
It can be a K1 or a K2. Not to complicate it too much, because they were another goalpost mover, to be honest. They came out obviously later than the 98 R1. So we have allowed those in, but they have to have reduced sized throttle body intakes. So they're basically strangled a little bit. It's to allow those bikes in because we know there's a lot of them around and people just got nothing they can do with them, but they had to be competitive with the rest of the field, Steve. And people who've got them have gladly done that, and it's working a treat.
Well, so that's good news. We saw another one a moment ago, actually. Ross Dunning out there, number 9. That's an iFilm. Nice looking bike, that. Number 9, Ross Dunning. That's a GP1 Classic, although it looks like he's actually got a Honda Fireblade tail unit on. Of course, you can have whatever fairings you want, realistically, from whatever bike you want, but it is a Suzuki. Now, at the front of this, it's Richie Thornton. There's Ryan Strafford in second place, keeping him honest. There is 114. John Wright leading the GP1 Classics at the moment. So Shane Pearson, who won earlier on circuit, got a bit of work to do. There's Mark Biswell. Mark at the moment inside the top 10. He's a Golden Era Superbike competitor. He's up ahead of Brad Davey, who's on a GP1 Classic Ducati. So we've got another GP1 Classic out there, but it's just great to see that they're all mixing it and they're all competitive with each other.
And really, when you think of the Carl Foggy days, obviously in the 90s, you know, how you couldn't get much more of a classic than those Ducatis. It's still beautiful. Still wish I'd bought one and put it in a glass cabinet in my lounge.
Well,
but,
you've still got time to do that, Sid. You've still got time. I'm not sure whether Mrs. Day would be all that much a fan of having a Ducati
it's
in
why
the
there's
lounge.
not one there now, Steve. Fear not. You know, obviously thinking back to like '99, the R1 that we had, for example, was capable of 49s around here. But of course, that was, as you pointed out earlier in the day, much more middle of the summer moment. It certainly wasn't mixed conditions like this. And you must remember, these are mixed conditions. Looking at Ryan Strafford there, I mean, what a phenomenal journey he's had. On board with him now as well. The boy is doing really well for a Yorkshire lad, I've got to say. But, you know, him and his dad, Chris, spend hours and hours and hours turning this beautiful machinery out, and he's really got his head down. He's going to be pleased with his results this weekend, I'm sure. He got a fourth, 2 fourths actually yesterday, and good start in the earlier race today, and you know, I think he'll be happy with this.
Happy, I think, is the understatement. He's really giving Richie Thornton here something to think about as he leads the race. Now, Ryan Strafford has had Golden Era Superbike wins, but this is a proper dust-up here as they go elbow to elbow down Paddock Hill Bend, and Richie Thornton's not having it all his own way this time. Ryan Strafford looks so much more comfortable, doesn't he, now on that Honda? Now he's got used to it. He is going to be a weapon this year. He wants this title. Make no mistake about it. Out of Graham Hill Bend we go, and Ryan Strafford leads this ahead of Richie Thornton. Then there's a gap back to the rest of the field, and at the moment Shane Pearson is now on terms with John Wright.
Blimey.
Oh, they're coming through the traffic here, and they are not really showing much respect towards the tail enders, who would have probably, they might just fancy pulling into pit lane here and check their underpants, because Ryan Strafford and Richie Thornton came past that back marker there and really gave him a fright. Good lap times, you say, about the 49s that used to be posted in 99 on the R1s. These guys are lapping in the 50s at the moment.
I know.
A 50.7 for Richie Thornton and a 50.8 for Ryan Strafford. Incidentally, the lap record is a 49.5 from Richard Blunt on a Kawasaki. But brilliant stuff. Now, further back, there's Andy Chalice. At the moment, he's third in the Superbike, Golden Era Superbike class, but 5th on circuit, because up ahead of him there's a ding-dong going on for the GP1 Classic win between John Wright and Shane Pearson. But this is the outright scrap for the win in the Golden Era Superbike class, brought to you by AVON tyres. Of course, we should just point out also that you haven't got to be on AVON tyres purely
correct.
because it's a sponsor of the class. You can have whatever tyres you want, and as you can probably see planted on the side of Ryan Strafford's bike, he opts for Continental. And now he goes down into Paddock Hill Bend. Here we are on board with him. You might just see Richie Thornton alongside him in a moment. They go past another back marker. But this is a brilliant start to the 2017 season here between these two in the Golden Era Superbike class. They know each other very well. They raced against each other last year. They were tussling for 2nd, 3rd and 4th in the championship. Andy Chalice going well there. Number 24 just behind him is Daz Ball, one of our rookies. Great also to see some proper classic machinery out there with Kev Liddell on the KLM Motorsport Yamaha, and of course Cole Mooney, the old boys out there having a proper bit of
greyhound.
fun. So good stuff to see those boys out there. I saw their bikes a moment ago and thought we'll have to mention them, but can't take our eyes off this battle. Not long to go here. Richie Thornton has now put in his fastest lap of the race. There's not much time left in this one. Richie Thornton knows this. He knows that Ryan Strafford is not here just for fun in 2017. Now, further back, there is Shane Pearson, 3rd on circuit, but he's now gone past number 114, John Wright, and leads the Alto Digital GP1 Classic race. But this is the Golden Era Superbike battle. You can see the focus there in the eyes of Ryan Strafford. Is he a clean-shaven Ryan Strafford at the moment, like he was at the presentation, Sid? Or has he actually decided to let it all grow again?
No, he's bearded again, like my good self.
Ah, the bearded Yorkshireman then. Here we are on board with him now. Oh, I tell you what. Richie Thornton. Oh, he's just got caught up there by a tail ender and almost stacked it, I think. That might have just pricked the ears up of Ryan Strafford. Now we're on board with him as we head around Clark Curve and onto the start-finish straight once more. There's not long to go. The last lap flag is out. Ryan Strafford has got to put together the most perfect lap here, or hope that Richie Thornton has a mare. Thornton's looking over his shoulder, so he's clearly not looking at his notice board that he's got over on the start-finish straight. Of course, it is one of the most awkward circuits in Britain to be looking at a pit board because it's not really a start-finish straight. Shane Pearson looks like he might just have the GP1 Classic race wrapped up, but who will take Golden Era Superbike glory? Is it to be Richie Thornton once more? Ryan Strafford really is putting together a brilliant lap here. He's got to get on the power as early as he dare now as we come up towards Clearways. Oh, it's close. It's close. They both get on the power early. None of them are twitching. Ryan Strafford, hats off to him. But it is going to be a win here again for Richie Thornton. Brilliant stuff from the Golden Era Superbikes. And Sid, I think it's fair to say if we get more like that this year, then we're all for it.
Oh, it's brilliant. Well done, everyone.
Superb action there then from both Richie Thornton and Ryan Strafford. We'll have more of that, please, boys. Thank you very much indeed. We enjoyed that. Thornton wins it, just 3/10 clear of Ryan Strafford. Shane Pearson wins the GP1 Classics ahead of John Wright. Andy Challis was 5th. Ross Dunning in 6th. Top 3 then in the AVON Golden Era Superbikes. Richie Thornton, then Ryan Strafford and Andy Challis. And in the top 3, Alto Digital GP1 Classic podium, Shane Pearson, John Wright and Ross Dunning. Championship standings then, not a lot in it, 24 points between Richie Thornton and Ryan Strafford. That one will continue throughout the season. Andy Challis is 3rd there, a couple of points clear of Andrew Windsor and Mark Biswell 5th. And Ross Dunning is 6 points clear in the GP1 Classics ahead of Shane Pearson, Brad Davey, John Wright, Michael Goer and Ben Webster. Breathtaking action from Brands Hatch. That's it for round 1. We are now off to the East Midlands. We'll see you round 2 next month at Donington Park.